What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. We are rolling here. Got Greg the Leg, Layton Smith, and Michael Tracy here with us here today. We'll be joined by Making Adams here shortly. But with that being said, y'all, I gotta tell y'all, just kind of a tip, a trick. I think that might do a lot of good for a lot of people that maybe a lot of people maybe haven't thought of, but definitely stay in your 20s as long as you can. 20s definitely feels a lot better than 30s, y'all. That's what I'm saying. All right. You know what I'm saying, Greg? You know what I'm saying, man?
Bro, I'm almost 50. So yeah, 30s were solid. 30s were solid.
Okay.
But yeah, you learn a lot more now you're 30. You know, you had a TV show made about you, you know, back in the day. You're too young to even know about that.
Oh, geez.
But hey, you got a movie coming up when you hit 40. This is 40. But yeah, you had the 30 something. I think that was the name of the show back in the day. But hey, well, it'll be all right, man. You're getting more wiser. That's the way I look at it. Another year wiser.
More wiser. I'll take that. Michael, you feeling that too, man? I know. I mean,
I got a year and a half.
I know, man. Enjoy it, bud. Enjoy it, guys. All right. But
dirty 30.
That's right. But yeah, Wolfpack Nation, as you can already see, you got my man Razor here in the chat already. But any thoughts, questions, concerns, requests, whatever it may be, y'all make sure to get them in the chat, and we will discuss most all of them here today. Razor saying, Greg, you're better than Wise. Wait until 60, LOL, than 65. Good to know. All right.
Hey, I just hope to be on the planet still, man.
Hey, amen to that. Hey, we'll keep you as long as we can, Greg. We still got many AC championships and natties to win, man. So stick around for it.
All right, man. I'm in. You know,
all right, let's do it. Ride. Well, with that being said, y'all, we won't hold this back anymore. But I do want to jump into a little bit of weekly rewind, because we haven't used this transition in quite some time, y'all. But this is still, I would say, a weekly rewind. So let's jump into it. Ooh, man, I missed that transition. That's one that I think just kind of we probably could use more often, but it just kind of everything just kind of transitions automatically into a weekly rewind, quote unquote. So we just don't really think much of it. But with that being said, though, I would say, how would you describe this week, Greg? I mean, for a Pac 9, would you say successful? Would you say,
I mean,
so? Where would you put this? Incomplete. Yeah. Incomplete.
Yeah. Thanks to Saturday, it was incomplete.
That's right. And we will talk about it. But with that being said, a huge win for sure. Definitely, I think I think I saw D1 Baseball actually even tweet out about being like, man, look at NC State going on the road, game 1, and getting a win against the top 7 Florida State team. And during that game, the bats were humming, 14 hits. Alec Mack continuing to prove that the move from ECU to NC State was just a dumb move. I mean, why would you ever leave, ECU where he's not a focus to NC State where he's, just crushing, any preseason expectations, right? I mean, so huge win for sure. But then, 8-1 loss against FSU is not quite the little add-on, the little seasoning to this weekend that we wanted, but we're still sitting here, 1-1 on the weekend for sure, and still sitting well within spitting distance of our hope and dream of hosting a regional. Michael, original thoughts on the wins versus the loss, and UNCW too, even we'll even throw that in.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
damn you midweek
games. I'm not even worried about these midweek games at all. It's just like we're not trying. We're trying, but we're severely limited in literally players on the roster. Me and Greg kind of
especially a pitcher
last week. Yeah, especially a pitcher. These midweek games obviously look totally different if Fritton or Highfill is pitching in them, and they haven't even pitched an inning in them, which rightfully so, because you got to save them for the weekend. So,
you had Logan Whitaker out for the last month, right?
Yeah,
so you're having to pull a guy that you would probably have in a midweek game pitching on a Sunday. Right. So
yeah. But for FSU, I mean, like Greg said, I mean, it's good, but it just felt incomplete. Splitting it is better than losing it, but would have been nice to win the series too.
Well, Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll really know here in about 2 weeks how much that third game's got to, help or hurt us. If we get down to a tiebreaker scenario where, FSU gets a pool and we don't get a pool. When I say a pool, when we lead a pool or not lead a pool, because when you get down to the ACC tournament, being a pool leader or number one seed in a pool is very vital. And so if that game on Saturday prohibits us from being a pool number one seed, I'm going to be really pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rightfully so. So, I guess we can kind of get into it. I mean, here, let's do this. Talking a little bit though about specifically the win. To me, I was really impressed. I mean, I put out tweets on that Saturday morning talking about how impressed I was with the team and the fact that how they were humming. All the momentum was in their favor, and then FSU gets a hope and a prayer with a weather delay.
Yeah,
and you knew at that point that Highfield's day was done. Which
52 pitches.
Yeah, 52 pitches, which you could have probably gotten at least another 20, 30 out of him with how we were playing at that point, which would have been huge.
He was doing good too, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then getting through that, and then FSU goes on a little bit of a run, and we found a way to win. And Derek Smith looks like a closer that we have not seen since an Evan Justice that, I think that we've been looking for. And you still got Jacob Dudan, who, I mean, that guy's throwing 98
we got through
fastballs.
It was at 99 on Friday.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, I mean, overall, a very, very impressive win. I think that, I think it was Elliot Avon that said, that quoted the term, you got to play your best ball in May. And as of right now, I would say we're definitely feeling pretty good besides the injuries, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. No, I mean, that win, some of the luck that we haven't had in the midweeks is showing up on the weekends. Like, I mean, I think we had like 3 or 4 infield hits in that Friday night game and scored a couple runs off them. So it was nice.
Yeah, their defense wasn't good either.
Yeah, they made a couple mistakes. But yeah, and then the rain delay is tough because, it always seems like the team that's behind always kind of gets the advantage because it breaks the game up. It's almost like a whole new game when you restart.
Yep, agreed. So, I mean, Greg, kind of talk to me a little bit, what stood out to you about this weekend, specifically about what happened during the games, not before or after games.
Yeah, Coop Consigliano threw a really great game on Friday night. Probably his best performance of the season, especially having to come in the situation that he did. Obviously, D-Rock stranding the bases loaded. I think that was a crucial moment. I think they left Coop in probably just a 1, maybe 2 batters too much, and then Derek Smith, who has just been lights out on his last 4 appearances. He's that slider is just nasty. I mean, he literally probably throws that thing 95, 97% of the time, and hitters know it's coming and they just can't touch it. And so that's when you have that advantage, when hitters know pretty much what's coming and you can still blow it past them, you got some good stuff right there. So I think the way he's emerged this year, because this is a guy that only had I want to say 2 or 3 appearances last year, a transfer in from up, he's from Minnesota, and someone who you probably weren't counting on him just because of the way he was used last year, but has really earned a spot in this rotation. And then you have all the freshmen that are just starting to really, starting to find their groove with Consigliano, with Marone, with, like you already mentioned, Dudin. This is a team that come the next year or two, if these guys are able to stay together, which they're a really tight group. So I would think that they're probably going to be hanging around. Watch out. And then, of course, if you get like a Fritton that comes back next year, he's draft eligible. So maybe if he doesn't slot where he wants to, maybe he comes back. Whew, that's a good rotation, man.
I mean, Wilson too, right? He could come back.
He could definitely come back if he chooses. I mean, he graduated this past weekend, so congrats to him on his graduation. But yeah, he does have a year that he could come back and use if he so choose to do so.
Yeah.
So with that being said, well, here real quick, Hunter saying, I say successful, good split.
Yeah,
and not a bad split at all.
It's a top 10 win. You know,
Well, and especially on the road, because I mean, if you look at both games in total, you'd say FSU has the edge because one was a 1-run game, one was a 7-run split, but it's on the road, so
RPI went up, I think.
RPI went up, even though we still even have the UNCW loss sprinkled into that, even too.
Yeah.
So
we're sitting at 19 right now, I believe.
Yep.
So you're right there, and so I mean, from everything I've been seeing, if we can get 3-4 more wins, you're pretty solid right there in that regional host conversation. So, and I think that with the going on the road with UVA this coming weekend, then a home series against Wake Forest, who's definitely not been as much as advertised this year as they were before the season this year. I mean, so opportunities, very, very tough still, but opportunities. And again, if you get 3 or 4 wins between those 2 series alone, I mean, that's about as good
especially
of a
the
resume
Wake,
you can get.
especially Wake. Right now,
yeah.
they're turning towards our pod if the season were to end today. So it's gonna be. I mean, we got big series. I'll be in Charlottesville this weekend, so hopefully we can get another series road win. Man, the way we've been playing in ACC play, we should have probably won that series. They had exhausted a lot of pitching. We play a third game. I probably feel better. You probably have Marone, or actually, no, Whitaker would have gone had we had the third game. Yeah, it'd have been Whitaker. By the way, welcome back, Whitaker and Noah Souls. They were definitely, made their marks known when they came back. So, look, hopefully, like you said, we get healthy. Maybe get a couple more guys back. We'll have to see what Van Dam's injury is like. Hopefully, everything's okay. I hadn't heard anything from my folks. Because he's a workhorse. I mean, he's a guy that that's ate up a lot of middle relief type innings. But we'll keep getting healthy or not have any more injuries. And you kind of saw some lineup shuffles, between the Nixon brothers. Nixon was playing right. He moved over to left yesterday, with Chase having sliding down to the DH. So we'll see how those matchups continue to work out for the last couple of series of the season. And then we got Norfolk State tomorrow, and by all accounts, it looks like we're going to play that game. You see a lot of coaches play the game. Well, not only that, but the RPI game. I know the NCAA put out their email, but it's still good to see you play those games.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's got to be at least a tiny chance of rain to even say we're canceling it. I think it looks totally clear tomorrow night. So
yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah, because I mean Norfolk State's got a 3+ hour drive to and from. So you can play those games, but hopefully we play the game and we get a midweek game win and then get some confidence going into UVA this weekend.
Yep. So with that being said, let's not delay this conversation any further, but let's talk about the biggest
what really grinds my gears
in the history of this segment, which is no doubt about it for sure. So let us know in the comments, y'all, what your thoughts were to the antics or
antics. Bush League antics.
Bush League antics. So Greg, for those who are unaware, so give those who are unaware the full background of what happened at FSU this weekend.
Yeah, so obviously there was the lightning delay on Friday night, and then apparently they had some weather come in on Saturday and
morning.
Yeah, right? Morning. Mm-hmm. And for some reason in the state of Florida, where it rains, and Michael, you could probably attest to this living in the state of Florida, that it rains damn near every day in Florida, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
And for you to not put a tarp that's on your field already, it's pretty damn criminal. I just don't know what behooves you. I mean, if there's like any chance of rain, that tarp goes on the field, I mean, it's common sense. And apparently, the Florida State administration has probably put all their money into lawyers, and maybe they've cut some of their grounds crew keepers, and they maybe didn't have the folks to do it.
Well, and you got to feel for them, Greg, because I mean, with all the money that they're putting towards buying out the ACC, they just couldn't afford a tarp this year. You know what I mean? So
no, it's there. It's on the field.
Well, it just wasn't big enough, Greg. Okay, so they just say, instead of putting it out, and looking foolish and having this little itty bitty tarp just enough to cover the pitcher circle, we're just gonna just leave it off and just be like, well,
Yeah.
we could play, but I don't know. I don't know if we should, but we could play, but I don't know if we should. So maybe we should wait till tomorrow, So.
Well, then so you didn't tarp the field. That's number one. And then you didn't move the game time up at all. So, if you there was a window there where you could have played the game, had you taken the proper precautions and done what, like, I don't know, 99.9% of all other teams do is tarp your damn field.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I saw the because this was like ACC network game, that's kind of, you couldn't move it up, but it's like, okay,
bullshit. Pardon my language.
I
love it. No, go for it. Yeah.
That's the dumbest argument. You can go put on, like, North Carolina's dynasty that you show 400 times on the ACC network. Like, you've got some programming you can shuffle around. Like, give me a break.
Well, and especially too, because it's there's so much baseball, there's so much ACC baseball that goes on during the weekend that, to be honest, 90% of the people who watch that game are FSU and NC State fans. So, AK, if you move it up, however much, you're still going to get 90%, at least 90% of the viewership you were going to get anyway. Let's be real.
Right.
And it wasn't like those broadcasters that were covering the game were even in the stadium. They broadcast it from home, so it wasn't like you were inconveniencing them. Like, the only broadcast crew you had was the FSU crew, that because the other two games were on ACC Ocho. Like,
it was just completely avoidable in many different ways. And they're like, even playing. Well, I don't know. I guess it would have depended on what time we got there, but even playing a doubleheader on Friday before, if you knew it was going to rain all day on Saturday. But
it's just frustrating. And here's the other thing: Link Jarrett has pulled this crap before. Like, this isn't the first time that he's played some games with RPI and all of that. Because obviously, for anyone that doesn't remember, he was with Notre Dame before he came to Florida State, and he's played these little games before. And look, even if they didn't play games in the Antics and the Bush League, it's still incompetent. Like, I mean, it's just incompetence at that point.
Yeah, so, really. At worst,
yes,
you just don't know how to take care of a baseball field. It's like, come on.
Yeah. So, no, not buying it.
And here, Greg. Well, real quick. So Razor saying ACC could have moved it up even.
Yeah, they could have.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Hunter saying Link knew what he was doing.
Absolutely.
But for those saying, well, Greg, but why? Like, what would Florida State benefit out of not having to play the third game? And my first thought is, so my first thought, and I want to kind of hear y'all's thoughts on it too, is that, I mean, right now they're very much in the conversation of being a top 8 seed in the NCAA tournament. So for them, it's more of just don't mess it up. Just cruise right in. Just win each series. Go win a game or two in the ACC tournament, and you're 99.9% likely to get a top 8 seed, which is huge, which is a defining thing, because if you win the regional, automatically hosting the super regional. So I mean. Because I think with NC State, if you have to play a third game, then you have to win both games in order to win the series. Well, now you don't have the third games. Now you say, well, we won the second game, so we tied. We did the best we could. So is that basically the case for why Link Jarrett and FSU might benefit from not having to play a third game?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. They're in that, like we talked about earlier, not playing that third game, it leaves them a game up on us in ACC standings.
That too. That's a good point.
And I think, Greg, you know better, but I don't think they have. Like, I think they've got injuries to their starting pitchers too. So like,
they had two
starters would have been
out.
a bullpen game. Yeah. So it's like,
Interesting.
But I'm also trying to pull up their last skit. And they got Pitt to end the season.
Who right now is 6-18 in the ACC.
Yeah, they're not even going to make the ACC tournament. So this was the biggest chance for them. Yeah.
It's just a coincidence, Greg. Just a coincidence. All right. Just a coincidence.
Okay. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
So,
because just to paint the picture for you, Michael, I'll let you finish your point and I'll bring you in. But right now, FSU is sitting at 14-9 in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
We're 13-10. How interesting, Michael? Go ahead and finish your point, man.
Well, I think the outcome of the Friday night game affected it too, because if FSU wins Friday night, then there's no harm. You got 2 more games to play to win the series. So it only benefits the losing team of the first game, and only hurts the winning team of the first game.
I guarantee you, had they won that first game, that tarp would have found its magically. It would have magically found its way onto the field.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, maybe we should tarp the field tonight.
Come hell or high water, we are playing all 3 games this weekend. Yeah. No.
Well, and then you saw what happened on Sunday. They almost didn't even play that game. So the plan,
right.
So for anyone that wasn't following, there was a curfew involved, and people were complaining about that. I saw people on Twitter thinking like, now we're the conspiracy theorists because we didn't want to play a 3rd game, and obviously the curfew is because we flew commercial. We are stuck to whatever that flight works out to be. There was talk that had they played a full 3 games, the first game would have started at 8:45 in the morning.
Yeah.
So there was that, and the field was barely playable at the time. Like none of the teams took infield.
It looked bad.
Yeah, so no team took infield. They didn't take batting practice, from what I understand, and that was it. So at that point, it's 1 game, and
wow.
And FSU, good for them. They came out and won the ball game. They stuck it to us. We struggled. We had some errors in the first inning or 2, and Dom just didn't get it settled into a groove, and it was just one of those frustrating games. And we ran ourselves. We didn't capitalize on some opportunities in the game, and they got us. But that's, like I said earlier, it's going to be frustrating when you look at this, and if 1 game is the deciding factor, or if we're tied, then I think it's common opponents. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the first tiebreaker is winning percentage against light teams.
If we're a game down, there won't be a tie because the games will all be uneven.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
So just to remind everybody, so the rest of the season we have Norfolk State tomorrow night. May 7th for those who are listening on May 7th. May 7th, 6 p.m. at Doak, and then we have the 3-game series starting Friday night in Charlottesville, Virginia.
There's weather in Virginia for Friday.
Yeah,
oh, great.
So we'll see about that. And then we wrap it all up by hosting Wake Forest in a series May 16th through the 18th before the AC Championship takes place in Charlotte. In downtown Charlotte from the 21st through the 26th. And the 26th, because we are going to be playing on the 26th, baby. Let's do it.
It's my birthday weekend, so I'd love to win an ACC championship on my birthday weekend.
Hey, let's make it happen. Hey, Greg, we'll throw you the biggest birthday party that could ever come, man.
Yep, already. I got my hotel for Charlotte, and yep, I'll be there.
Yep, let's do it. Yep. Razor saying FSU has a horse pasture field. They need more moisture on it. LOL. Yeah. So see, it all works out, Greg. It just happened to work that way. That's
conveniently.
All. Just conveniently. So with that being said, let's jump on over to Tuffy's tweets of the week, y'all. Alrighty, so I got to give a shout out to my man Dave Windsor here with this just grade A tweet for sure. For those who are listening, it's a picture of the our tarp at NC State on the field, and it says, "Dear FSU baseball fans, this is a quote unquote how-to thread on, I guess, covering a baseball field. Step 1, gather 10 friends at the baseball field. Step 2, roll out the tarp. Step 3, set heavy objects on the tarp. Step 4, wait for rain. Step 5, take off tarp and play ball." I mean,
well done, easy. Well done, Mr. Windsor.
Bravo. Just, I mean, he had to quote. Do you know what the crazy part is? He had to quote 6 sources in order to come up with this information and write this research paper, Greg.
It's like
how to cover a baseball field.
He's got all the little notations, and then it's like at the bottom you have to have the key. The funny thing is most of the time who tarps the field, at least for State, is the ball players. So it wasn't like they didn't have players available. In fact, I don't know. Did anyone see the Georgia player get caught up on the tarp the other day? Like that was pretty funny. He got
I've seen those before.
Yeah, he slipped and he took a ride on the tarp. But yeah, you've got more than 10, Dave. You got 30 plus guys that'll be willing to be available to pull a tarp.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, not hard. It's really not hard. In fact, it's been done for, I don't want to say probably 100 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, but I guess we'll file away that research paper in case FSU ever needs to reference it in the near future. So with that being said, our next tweet of the week, y'all got to give a shout out. Greg already mentioned it, but the return of Logan Whitaker back into the lineup. And showing solid stuff. I know that over the weekend, I think it was on Friday, we had Shaden Van Dam, who seemed to go down with an injury,
an arm injury,
and didn't look good. But I don't think we've heard anything official or anything. Nothing really remembered of it. Yeah.
So nothing. Even if I had it, nothing that's been,
Yeah.
I typically get information, but I don't put it out until, like you said, like we're not newsbreakers here on this channel. So if we have something, we kind of keep it internal. And then once it's made available, we'll piggyback off of it. But nothing yet. So prayers up, buddy. Hopefully it's just something inflamed, and maybe some rest can help it. But we'll see.
Yep, absolutely. But again, I mean, bringing Logan Whitaker back the weekend that SVD does get injured, it's like, okay, not like
it's been, though.
This for that, but
this is the way it's been. Hogue got injured last weekend. Souls is back this weekend. You get Whitaker back this weekend. Van Dam. I mean, it's like, what are we? Come on, it's frustrating.
Well, it's frustrating because imagine how good we would be if we were healthy. That's the thing that bugs me.
Yeah. But in a weird way too, you probably don't have some of the guys that break out either. Like you probably don't. If Souls is healthy, you probably don't see Hogue emerge, right?
Sure.
He gets probably a spot thing here or there to give someone some rest, but. Yeah, it's frustrating because then you're like, okay, if Souls comes back, you got Hogue and Souls, you can platoon lefty righty, you can maybe even slide Hogue into a DH position, and then unfortunately he has the broken leg. But yeah, if we can get healthy and figure this thing out, man, like our pitchers are starting to, like our bullpen's starting to look a little bit better. Like I said, with these guys, maybe if Whitaker is back and is able to go full go. Maybe you get, we only have one more midweek game this week, but so you can maybe have Marone slide into there. But really where this is going to help us is in back-to-back games and in an ACC / NCAA tournament where if you need some extra arms, you've got some wiggle room.
Yep. That's a good point. So anything else about baseball, y'all, before we move on over some other in-state topics?
Nope, just go out and win some ball games and let's do damage.
Yep. I mean, I already placed my request for regional and super regional tickets, so I really would like to see those requests get fulfilled. That's all I'm saying. So, and somebody asked a question earlier saying, that ECU, Wake Forest, or I think it was Wake Forest, but and some other team in the ACC, I think it's probably Duke. I'm guessing maybe Duke, but
Duke's,
who's hosted or who's slated to host a regional, and so they're asking the question. Yeah. So they were asking the question, how likely would it be for the NCAA to give 4 North Carolina teams a regional host?
Yeah, you would hope that they don't look into that.
Yeah.
It should be merit alone. It should be merit alone.
Yeah, I honestly don't think Duke's a lock to host. I mean, they don't. Looking at their I was looking at some resumes today. I don't think Duke or Wake is a lock to host right now. It feels like our series against Wake to end the season will be kind of like an elimination host series, and then Duke.
Where are they sitting at? I know they were 6 a couple weeks ago. Have they slid a little bit?
I think so, but RPI wise, they're worse than us right now. Their strength of schedule is the worst out of any projected host.
Gotcha.
Out of any of the ACC teams, they have 3 Q4 losses. So like to bad teams, like as bad as we've been in midweeks, all of them have only been Q3 or better. So I don't think Duke's a lock to host either. So I think it'll be one of Duke, State, or Wake, which in that case ends up only being UNC's probably a lock.
They're a lock,
ECU's a lock. So I think it only may end up being 3 or 4 North Carolina schools.
Yeah. That's what I would probably project if Duke isn't a lock at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of put it as, I mean, at the end of the day, the people that the decisions on who is a top 16 host is human based. It's not computer based. So I mean, to say there's not a little bit of human thought into these decisions is just asinine. All of us NC State fans know that full and damn well, unfortunately.
Yeah. Here's the other thing I'll say about that too. With baseball being the way that it's configured for postseason, they do a lot of regional play, and so if there's not a lot of regional tie-ins to North Carolina, you might not see, to that point, more North Carolina teams, because normally you have 3 teams that are fairly regional to the host, and then you have one obscure one where they just have to slot them in.
Yeah, to put them somewhere.
Yeah, so that's something to look at too. Again, if the NCAA kind of uses that same model criteria, that could potentially be a thing.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah. So Preacher Man asking the question, what is worse, this FSU mess or the Vandy Whistler?
Vandy Whistler all day.
Yeah. Well, I would say Vandy Whistler because the Vandy Whistler will never die. Like he's just
he will. I mean, it kind of works out.
Well, but I literally think it's just gonna get passed on forever.
It will get passed on.
I'll pass the whistle down to the next person.
Because people don't even know that there's 2 whistlers. Actually,
there is.
People don't think about that. There are 2 whistlers. So
that was the most annoying thing about Omaha.
Yep.
Well, I wouldn't say the most annoying because we got thrown out of it, but most annoying thing.
Well, but I would put that right beside it though, because I mean, let's be real. The benefactor of us getting thrown out was Vandy. So whenever we heard that Vandy Whistler, we think about
it was like a twist in the knife. Yeah,
exactly, exactly. So,
whistle in the wound.
That's right. Like FSU mess, like y'all just idiots, like whatever. But the Vandy Whistler thing is just nonstop. Just
it's been a thing for many years.
Like, and nobody liked it. Like even I'm sure half of Vandy fans don't even like it.
Yeah, I've definitely read things where they're not fans of them either. It's just it's annoying as heck, man.
Well, because again, the problem is that like the whistling wouldn't just happen like just in certain situations. They would do it.
Yeah.
Anytime, no matter what, it's like whenever they felt like it.
All game,
and
yeah.
That's the annoying thing. It's kind of like like in football, like you stand up on 3rd downs. Why? Because it's 3rd down. It's a big play. But like with the whistling, it's just hey, 0-0 count. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Like it doesn't matter. It's just annoying. Hunter asked the question, what are y'all's thoughts on DJ Horn not getting invited to the NBA Combine? I thought that was kind of crap.
Yeah, that's a grind my gears.
Yeah. Yeah, you think being in the Final Four, you get a little more visibility. You might get an invite, but yeah.
Well, not only that, he played in the PTI, which is the Portsmouth Invitational we talked about a couple weeks ago, was on the all-team Portsmouth Invitational team, doing all the right things to get to the Combine invite. And then you have someone like Bronny James get invited. Caleb Love wasn't even invited to this thing, and he was Pac-12 Player of the Year. So it's good to know people, as they say in the industry.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I haven't looked at any kind of NBA projections, but I'm assuming that DJ Horn's not on any kind of draft projection, right?
Probably no. I mean, especially if you're not getting. I mean,
if he doesn't get a Combine invite,
yeah.
Unfortunate. Okay. It's unfortunate. I mean, because I think they take the top 50. Is that the right number? 50 or 60? I don't remember which.
It's somewhere around there.
Yeah. Shocker. Baycott didn't make it either.
No.
What? But he's one of the top 3 best centers in UNC history, Greg. What are you talking about? Yeah. Yeah. What up, Macon?
What's up, guys? What's up?
Perfect timing, man. You doing good?
Good, man. Sorry I'm late. When you're away for a week, you got to run errands, man. So
whatever. You'll be docked later.
Am I even a fan?
We need to put that on I'm telling you, man. When we come out with our Tuffy Talk T-shirts, that's going to be one of them, man.
Are you even a fan?
So it is trademarked now. For anybody who wants to take it, we are calling it right now. Are you even a fan that is trademarked by Tuffy Talk LLC right there?
Yeah.
So making we just started talking a little bit of basketball. So Hunter asked the question, what are your thoughts on DJ Horn getting invited to the NBA Combine?
I mean, he doesn't profile as your typical NBA kind of guy, so it's not shocked. little surprised maybe DJ didn't get a little sniff at it just because of what how like stardom he kind of had, but I wouldn't expect him to be there.
Burns or Horn?
Burns, sorry, Burns,
okay.
yeah. So, but I'm not shocked by it. I am a little surprised. I mean, it's like I think on two ways. One, Cal State didn't get invited. It's like, wow, they really didn't have a lot of talent on this team this year. And then two, holy cow, they
NBA
just did
talent,
that.
right?
Yeah,
NBA
but they
talent.
just did that in the Final Four. Like usually when you see those kind of teams, they're making they have at least one player. They had none. So that's pretty how remarkable the run State went on is. It kind of reinforces that in my mind a little bit. But yeah, I'm not surprised by it. Little bummed, disappointed, but not surprised.
Yeah, agreed. And then Greg threw in the thought there too, making that that Baycott didn't get invited to the combine, so that was a little interesting too. So
I even noticed that. Did he really not?
No.
There's a reason he played 6 years at UNC. So what does that say about RJ Davis, right?
Oh, he came back.
RJ Davis, right?
He came back, right? So he didn't probably he probably wasn't going to be invited either.
Yeah.
Well, but also, I definitely
getting paid thousands of dollars is probably better money they probably would have made in the second round or whatever.
Don't got to go to class, still make money.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, y'all, let's North Wolf bringing up softball. So let's give them a shout out here real quick, y'all. Finishing out the season with a ACC series sweep over Pitt. Looking at the whole picture by itself, if you look at the simple record that they went 30-23 overall, 6-18 in the ACC, you're like, ugh, that is bad. But keeping in mind, Lindsay Leftwich, first season as a head coach, taking over a team who last year for 90% of the year didn't even have a head coach, was basically starting from square one. And, had a lot of highlights along the way. I mean, starting off at one point early in the season with a 14 game winning streak. And the first game on the road at Clemson, you win 8-1, and you kind of put Clemson on their Clemson on their heels there for a bit, like, whoa.
Well, you were leading in the third game of that series.
Yeah, you were. You were close to pulling off that huge win against the top 10 AC team. So, so to me, it's more of, hey, you kind of saw the light crack, shining through that cover, shining through that blanket. You're
where you need to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought to be completely transparent though, these are the two worst teams in the ACC from a softball standing standpoint. But I think, it's not a whole lot you expect in the first year. And you saw, like your point, Layton, that Clemson win was like a glimmer of hope of what can be. So they can do it at NC State. I think, they can, if any of these other non-revenue sports can do it, they can certainly do it. And I bet you they may have some even more fan support potential than some of these other ones do. If they were just to get the right coaching and momentum in place. So,
well, and I mean, they have a 4-0 win over number 22 South Carolina at the time. They went to FSU, lost 2 games, 8-6 and 8-5. Duke, they lost 5-4, 5-3.
Duke's the number 1 seed.
Yeah. So again, I mean, like, they were competitive a lot of these games, which you're like, okay, are we taking these, these small victories right now? It's like, well, yeah, you got to with a first year head coach starting from absolute square one of this program. And honestly, with facilities that haven't been upgraded a long time, like, I guarantee you that probably baseball is number 1 focus right now and get that done, but softball soon after to finally get some upgrades that are much, much needed.
Yeah.
And I think that would really help a lot. Again, especially because Coach Leftwich, I mean, she's young. I mean, she's got a bright career ahead of her at NC State if she chooses to spend it. I'm assuming that with how many NC State red shoes that she's bought in this year, she's locked in for a while. Let's put it that way. So
they also got a win against Virginia Tech, who is the 3rd ranked team in the ACC. So they got a 5-4 against them too. So. Lots
of glimmers of hope for sure. Very, very excited for it.
And now you have a full year of evaluation on your team. You can like kind of make Michael was saying, you know where you need to get stronger and better. Hopefully it's an
audition, like tryout.
Yeah. So hopefully all of that's being addressed through either recruiting and or transfer portal, and see what you can get. I mean, Raleigh has a lot to offer. we haven't, we kind of were talking basketball, but you see where State's got a top 10 transfer portal class coming in. Something we didn't really talk about. So
we will.
It's out there.
Oh, we will.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yep.
Sorry.
We will.
Yep.
But and real quick to kind of finish off this softball point, Norfolk talking about the softball team played a very tough ACC schedule. That's the one thing that a lot of people need to also keep in mind is that, again, she's taking over for a team first year, a team that had no head coach last year, and probably the toughest conference in the country right now, and the toughest ACC has ever been in softball. I mean, there's so many teams in the ACC that are top 15, top 20, top 25 in the country right now. Whether it's Virginia Tech, Duke, UNC is getting up there, even though they're starting over as well. FSU, who's won national championships. The list goes on. And you even bring in Cal and Stanford, as well, who both have very big softball programs as well. So it's tough. But we're only losing 3 seniors, so I mean we're bringing a lot of players back from next season. So excited to see what Coach Leftwich can do in the offseason now.
Yeah,
So,
I think fans would be really supportive of a softball team. Like if they just want to get,
sure.
if they had something to pull for, I think compared to what they have had in recent years. But I remember when they won the ACC championship tournament like a few years ago, and I remember thinking like, what? And it was when they had the last coach or 2 coaches ago, when it was, and they had it was his first year. So it was, something that I think fans would really be behind. Honestly, I think it'd be fun. So
yeah,
sure.
and then if everything that you're hearing is true, they're going to be getting a new facility here probably the next 3 to 5 years. If everything works out the way it's supposed to, the plan is to put the softball facility right behind Doak.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, that's the hope or the work, is that dorm, I guess, right there. Like that's Sullivan, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I don't know that for.
Lee and Sullivan.
Yeah, so one of those, if not both of those dorms are coming down, and so they hope to turn that land into.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I saw.
There's a lot of land back there, so
yeah. I mean, obviously the money has to come through. So
Sure.
we'll see.
Yep. Well, if there's one thing for sure is there's definitely not a shortage of money coming through NC State in different avenues right now. That's for sure. So but got to give a huge shout out though to the class 2024 overall. Though obviously with all in state alumni here, got to give a huge shout out and to the class 2024. Welcome them. All of them, whether you're listening and you are part of the class, or somebody who's part of the class, or you're a parent of somebody from the class, welcome to all of the new members of the NC State alumni. We're excited to have y'all and proud of y'all and excited to see what y'all can do in the world. Exactly.
Go give to the Wolfpack Club.
You guys did it.
Yeah.
Go give your money.
they do have a deal for.
I used it when I graduated. I totally did that.
So what was it again? So
the young alumni.
I think your
club member.
It's a discount. Yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
I don't think it's totally free your first year, but I think it's like steeply discounted.
It's 30, 60, 90, 120 to be a Wolfpack Club member. Essentially, how it is. And I don't know if it's also with the it might actually be that might be football season tickets. If I'm not mistaken. Actually, when I think about it, or no. That's Wolfpack Club membership, because they want the fans who are young realizing they can't be full-fledged members, and they're probably figuring out their financial situation out of college to still be able to stay connected for less.
Right. Plus all your student Wolfpack Club points carry over, and so you're kind of building that legacy, if you will.
Which, speaking of, I just renewed my Wolfpack Club membership today. So
let's go.
Yeah.
All righty. So gotta also to check out this beauty. I mean, look at Peyton Wilson though in the black and gold, man. It's awesome to see, man.
Man, could he have gone to any better football program for linebackers, man?
Well,
I mean, maybe like the Ravens or something, but
whatever.
You said what? I mean, obviously not the Buccaneers, but I mean,
no, I was just messing with you. I said we talked about this last week had you been on the show, but
I know.
No,
but
dude, you're 100% right. That's
Mexico,
exactly
man.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I think was exactly Michael's words last week with the defense, and they, like, to your point, they're historically known for their defense, and he's got to get coached up real well.
Exactly. So, and then obviously for Mick and I, we also too were part of this as well. But for me specifically, I got to give a shout out to my guy.
Let's
Dave
just
Dorn,
redo
man.
all last week.
No, no,
Even
no.
watch.
Hey, listen, man. I'm just saying for me, I wanted to get
Game
on here
Greg
and
could
say,
sign off.
no.
Hey, we have a really important midweek game against ECU this week, and we have the football first.
No, I just want to give a shout out to my man Dave Dorn.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him and excited to be able to go out recruiting with knowing that he's got that solidified here there behind him, getting that contract extension through 2029. But no, let's switch on over to some basketball here, y'all. So with NC State, this graph right here is basically talking about transfer portals, net gains versus net losses. In terms of I guess this graph is kind of basically basically the loss of production combined with also the amount of minutes that were lost as well. And I mean, really the only losses we have as of right now is Diarra, DJ Burns, Casey, DJ Horn. Right. Those are 4
But this
losses,
is strictly
right?
transfer portal.
Yes.
Oh, strictly transfer portal. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
So that's why we're so high. Yeah. Like obviously if you take everything into account, we'd be way lower. But yeah, strictly in and out of the transfer portal, we were one of the best.
And for anyone just listening, we're in the upper right quadrant is where you want to be. There's probably only one school better.
Team. Yeah. USC. So.
Yeah.
And those are some blue bloods there. You look at there with Kansas and UK and Kentucky. So like, where you want to be for.
I'm just looking at schools that kind of surprised me. Like, look at Duquesne there, dude. Like Duquesne's up there in the D, and then the bottom. I'm trying to look at who's the lowest Power 5 school. If it's not BYU, it might.
No, that's not connected. That's the wrong.
No,
Husky.
It might be Oregon State and Florida State. ECU's over there. Haha. I see Boston College's logo in there. I see Arkansas, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke. Georgia Tech.
Seton Hall's pretty low. Seton Hall's
there's a cluster. Yeah, there's a.
Well, they're not Power 5.
Yeah,
and so some of those,
for basketball they are, but
some of those teams you mentioned make sense. BYU, right? They lost their coach. He went to Kentucky. I think he said Oregon State. This was the last year of the Pac-12, so they're not going to be.
Arkansas's in there because they lost their whole dang team.
Yeah,
but I mean, like State's got how many? I mean, like if you go back, they've got Huntley Hatfield, James. They've got Styles coming in. They've got I'm blanking on who
the kid from Bowling Green, Marcus Hill.
Oh, Marcus Hill. Is that it? Is there not a fifth person coming in?
4. I think it's just those 4 so far.
And honestly, I think State can now go to all these other guys who are in the transfer portal and be like, you really can. You got a track record now, and you have a resume of what you can do with transport. Right. So you like, I mean, you don't have, like I mentioned it a few weeks ago, but you don't have your Kevin Keats to cower to, Hubert Davis or John Shire, any of these coaches in the ACC right now. Like, what have you done that I haven't done right now? I mean, like relatively speaking, Hubert Davis did play in a national championship game, but you were one game away from that. So,
and you're seeing some high level, high profile transfer guys not going to Carolina. The latest guy from Rutgers is going to Arkansas. They were really hoping to get him.
Guy, a center from Arizona, Ballo, who was considering UNC, went to was it
Indiana?
Indiana, Ballo.
Yeah. So they're missing on a few, and they're banking heavy on their guys coming back next year.
Jalen Withers is coming back, but he's like a guy like that.
Good.
I'm not counting on it. Obviously, I almost wonder how much they really needed RJ Davis to come back. Because is Cormac Ryan coming back? I don't know. Yeah,
no,
so he's gone. Man.
Well, that's why I was saying that kind of perplexed me, to be honest with you. I saw like a post or like a late transfer portal top 25, and they had UNC as like number 8 in the country. I'm sitting there like, do we even know who's starting for them at the 4 and the 5 right now? I mean, like that they're feeling really confident about.
How reputable was the source? I mean, like everyone's got to like. I mean, everyone's got their rankings. Is it anyone of any particular stature? I mean,
I saw it. So, I mean, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not garbage. I'm sure it's not. I mean, let's put it that way. I mean, it's UNC. I mean, by law of the trade, UNC has to start in top 15 in basketball.
Yeah. Well, hell, now football too. It seems like.
Dude, UNC, I'm calling it out. UNC football is gonna be garbage, man. They'll be lucky to make a bowl game.
They got
I'm telling you now.
Jacoby Criswell to come back, and I'm like,
That's crazy.
that's what's funny to me. It's like, dude, like you were like puffing your chest out, and he's like, oh crap, we need him back. Like to me, that tells me like he was the best talent, better than either one of those guys. Like, why do you go back to a guy who walked?
Mhm.
I just think that's kind of crazy, like you said, Michael.
Which I'm here for.
It could be totally wrong. But like, you don't go on TV and you bring a quarterback back who's been gone for a year, and maybe that is your best move to get 4 guys. Maybe it just is, and it's just he's not the starter, but they reckon he's a depth piece. But that's just like this is weird. So
let me paint this pretty picture for you guys real quick here. Let me paint this pretty picture. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Mac Brown literally did a Zoom call to a bunch of big time UNC donors, basically begging them, guys, I need you guys to invest in the NIL program for football, right? I need you guys to get invested. Please, please, please come and get invested. Yeah. And so then you get you get some money in. I don't know how much. Again, I'm not into all the behind the scenes. You get this money and you say, hey, you know what? Let's go after Max Johnson, who was the backup quarterback for Texas A&M. So I'm sure that he, could have stayed potentially there, been a backup, make pretty daggone good money because nobody has bigger pockets than Texas A&M when it comes to anything, to be honest with you.
Facts.
But instead, he decides to come to UNC. So I'm sure you had to offer him a sizable check. I'm sure you had to offer him that. And then, 2 months after he arrives on campus, Mac Brown talks about, well, we don't want to do a game. We don't want to televise a spring game because we have a true quarterback competition right now between Max Johnson, who is a graduate transfer, only has 1 year, and that's it, or the guy that started 1 game for you in the bowl game last year and looked okay, but lost. He looked okay. Not great, not bad, okay, and lost. Like that's like if I'm one of those donors, I am pissed because again, you're paying him that money whether you start him or not. You're paying him that money. So that man, I just couldn't imagine being one of those guys being like, wait, you came and begged for my money and you're not even going to start the guy. So that just tells me that you just don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what you're looking at. Well, you know what I mean?
And then you had the on 3 top 10 tight end units, and they had Carolina as the third. I'm guessing that's because of Nesbitt.
Yeah.
They got it's funny. Max Johnson, the transfer from Texas A&M, his brother is a tight end who transferred from Texas A&M as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they only took Max Johnson so they could get his brother at tight end.
Yep,
gotcha.
But I loved your tweet.
What's that? Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna quote you saying that I would take Justin Jolly, Dante Daniels, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Well, you got Vereen. You got Vereen still.
Juice too as of right now. So
and we have a quarterback that can throw the ball to him.
That's right. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah,
feeling pretty good. But switching back to basketball here a little bit. The news finally came out. I think that pretty much all NC State fans felt pretty confident.
That picture's fire.
That is a great picture, though. Like honestly, if you just cropped his face, like that is a Vogue face right there.
Can I say this about Michael O'Connell too? Did it feel like to you guys as the season went on, in the postseason, particularly after he hit that shot, that he just had like a swagger about him?
Mm-hmm.
He was confident, right? He played confidently. So I don't know, dude. He was.
I would too.
He was fun for me to watch play because he was a different type of player to what the rest of the team was, and I felt like it helped the system work. Well, obviously, the point guard, but
yeah, especially when you're running the point. To your point,
yeah,
that's right.
Your point. Your point. Oh my gosh, Greg, get out of here.
No, that was not pun intended, but to what you're getting at, I'll say it that way.
Yeah,
right.
You control everything, and everything runs through you. And so when that guy has confidence, it takes the whole team with him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So real quick, I got to give a shout out as well to our friends of the podcast, actually the NC State club sailing team, who once again qualified for nationals. I think now this is this got to be their 4th year in a row.
Their 5th year, yeah.
I think every year we've done Tuffy Talk.
Yeah, they've qualified. So and so basically, since their club, they are basically internally funded. So right now they are asking for donations, as again they do have to go do travel. They have to, get everybody there. They have to, pay for food, pay for hotels and all that jazz. So if you want to support them, all you have to do is just go to salepack.org/2024 nationals. Again, that's salepack.org/2024 nationals. Any dollars you can give would be much, much appreciated. And so that way they can get to nationals and support the red and white like they always do every single year.
And if you don't remember what we just put out, go hit up their Twitter at salepack. So they'll have all that info on their page. Exactly.
Thank you, Greg, the man. But switch on over, though. Guys, talk about tennis here. Who, I mean, I'm telling y'all, we it seems like every few weeks we're like, wait, are we a cross country school now? Are we a football school? Are we a basketball school? Yeah, and now I'm saying, are we a tennis school? I mean,
you know what that looks like. I wonder. I remember when I was in the, and this is a good thing, right? It's a good thing. I remember when I was in the Student Wolfpack Club, they had to get points. They had a system where you could go out and go to certain events that were usually more than non-revenue and build up your points. Yeah, I wonder if this was a big event. But who are they playing today? Do you know?
Well, they're out.
Or they're out now.
Yeah, the men are out.
Who did they play though?
UNCW was this one, I would guess.
Or, I mean, if I were playing and it was summertime and I'm just killing some time, I want to go see a game. That probably would be a fun one to go to. But if the Student Wolfpack Club, if that's what this was, or if it isn't, like, it's great to have fan base continue to build momentum on all the teams. So, I think winning even your revenue sports carries over into your other sports too. It's just winning breeds more success. So just continue to win in all those programs, and you'll have stuff like that more.
Yeah, I enjoyed going to the events because the action doesn't stop, unlike a traditional tennis match where there's a little break in the action because there's action on all the courts. But if you're watching one court and they're kind of in a lull, you can kind of shift your attention to one of the other courts and they're still playing. That's kind of the fun of it. So there's no real downtime when you go see these matches.
Yeah, no. And, so, I mean, huge shout out to this men's tennis team who, I mean, as you saw there, had a crowd full of people there to watch their opening matchup versus UNCW, which they won by a score of 4-0. And fell short, unfortunately, in the round of 32 against South Carolina, 4-3. And keep in mind that this was a team that they actually beat 4-3 at South Carolina earlier this year. So, had a close one then, and just this time around just was close towards the South Carolina direction for South Carolina to head to the Sweet 16. But again, I mean, there's no doubt the men's tennis team stock is just going up and up and up right now. So it's a great time to buy into that stock. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, and I don't think they were kind of flying under that radar from all accounts. They didn't seem, granted, the women were coming off a national title appearance, so they were probably getting a little bit more visuals than the men, but yeah, you're right. They had a really successful year and knocked off a couple of top 10 opponents throughout the season. So I don't know what we're losing as far as seniors on that team, but I would think that they're going to probably bring back a lot of talent.
Yeah. Northwood bringing up this thought that South Carolina's team was actually ranked as the top 10 earlier this year and was number 15 in the nation right now, or I guess before the postseason started. So not a bad loss. Yeah, no, not a bad loss. So, again, very, very proud of this team and excited for the future of in-state men's tennis. Now women's tennis, they're continuing to do what they do for the fifth year. For the fifth year in a row, they're heading to the Sweet 16, which is crazy. The fifth year in a row. And yes, as Greg points out, AC matchup now at Stanford.
I believe we beat them last year in the Final Four. Michael, is that right?
We did.
Yep. Final Four and then lost to UNC.
Right.
So a little bit of a payback opportunity here for Stanford. So, but either way, though, I mean, feeling very, very confident. This women's team right now is clicking on all cylinders right now. It's very, very deep team for sure. So excited for it. But I mean, really got to give a huge shout out to two people specifically. First of all, head coach Simon Earnshaw, who now has 200 career wins at NC State. And then Amelia Rajecki, who now has 100 career doubles wins. And she also, so now she has, Amelia Rajecki, she has 100 career single wins, 100 career doubles wins. And she is the third player in program history to achieve both those accomplishments, getting 100 single and 100 double. Only a third tennis player in program history to do it. So, I mean, we were talking, I think I might have said it late last year about how we had the honor to watch Diana Schneider, who, talking to, some people within NC State tennis said is hands down the most talented women's tennis player to come to NC State. You had Peyton Wilson, you had Emily Shepard with gymnastics, who's the GOAT for NC State gymnastics. You had Peyton Wilson, the greatest linebacker to play NC State. All this stuff going on, and now you still have Amelia Rajecki, who's I mean, per the stats, one of the all-time greatest women's tennis players to ever play at NC State in terms of achievements. So again, it's a great time to be an NC State fan, y'all. Like, there's never been a better time in NC State athletics than right now. I'm telling you, it's really awesome to sit here and have, again, NC State women's tennis competing for a Sweet 16. You have NC State baseball competing for a regional host. You still have, even golf even competing as well. Like, you still have a lot of action. We're sitting here in May. There's not a lot of teams or programs that have much of anything to watch right now. So just got to remind people that.
And then the other part of that is we are collecting. I just forgot the name of it. The cup, Capital Cup, the Directors Cup. Yeah. So we're just collecting points on that.
Yep.
And we were seventh heading into the spring sport. So I think we're going to probably easily best our best ever Directors Cup season.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, I think we'll be top 15 for sure, which I don't think we've ever been.
I don't think we have either.
We better be sniffing top 10, man. We just had both our basketball teams hit Final Four. That's well above expectation right there.
Right. Yeah, and we got those beautiful points. So
yeah.
As long as
probably,
go ahead.
It'll depend on how far the women's tennis goes, how far baseball goes. So yeah.
I wonder how many programs have made a bowl game, their basketball program in the Final Four, at least one of the programs in the Final Four, and if State can make the NCAA tournament for baseball, I wonder how many programs have done that. Probably not many.
Or even a regional host. I guarantee you, we'd probably be the only one in terms of having a regional host, Final Four, and bowl game. That's pretty awesome.
Even if you took away
Alabama,
maybe something like Alabama,
maybe they're kind of right on the line to host. I think.
Even if you went down, I mean, there's not. If you want to go down less on something like the Sweet 16, like I still don't think there's many teams that did a bowl game, something like that, and make the NCAA tournament for baseball. It's not that heavy. So what State does as a program right now, and again, credit to Boo Corrigan, is it's really good. So, and Debbie L, honestly, when she was here. So.
Well, and that kind of even builds off it too, is that, again, I mean, we don't have a single head coach on the hot seat right now. You have Boo Corrigan locked into a contract.
That's funny that Kevin Keats is not on the hot seat anymore. That's so funny to me.
He's not on the hot seat.
You said that we have no coach on the hot seat. Like,
not one.
That's just so, I don't. That's so funny to me.
Not one. You can't even make.
You're right.
For one.
You're right.
Because you just hired a new men's soccer coach, so that would have been the other one. You just hired softball. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then everyone else is
volleyball's on the hot seat. Volleyball's on the hot seat or anything.
No, he's still building.
But I mean, how many years has it been? That's what I'm curious about.
I think he's 3 or 4. This is his
so
fourth
how
year.
many more years are they giving a bill? Is what I'm getting at. So
I mean, they were right there on the cusp of getting a playoff. Or
I'm playing devil's advocate in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure. To my point is, if the fact that we have to even stretch that out is the point.
Dave Doran hot seat.
Just got a contract.
Yeah, Greg is all about that hot seat, Dave Doran.
No, I'm not personally. I'm just, like you said, playing devil's advocate in the situation.
What conversation a few months ago, Greg, that I still remember, Greg.
You can pull it up. Pull up the audio.
Pull up the record.
Well, and the other things which I'll build on that as well with Lucas Labe, volleyball coaches. First of all, this is a program that he inherited that basically has no history in terms of of significance. This team never has really accomplished anything, so he's basically building his own history from the bottom. He's also a Team USA assistant coach, so that's a resume builder right there. That's clout for sure. And the fact that he's probably got to be late 30s, early 40s. I'm guessing he's a young dude. So I mean, he ain't going nowhere anytime soon. So it's a great time, y'all. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's never been a better time to be an NC State fan, and it's not even close. It's not even debatable. So,
and then if you disagree, you just a hater.
You just a hater. I mean, there's no other way around it, man. You could say, well, the 80s. Well, okay, fine. We won the championship, whatever. But like everything right now is clicking. It's awesome.
It's
So,
funny, real quick. Like,
the Final Four and put it over the edge, kind of like. Okay.
And both men's and women's. Like,
yeah. Men's and women's. Yeah.
I've honestly had because I talk about NC State all the time at work, and I've got guys and ladies, kind of we just talk about it a little bit at work, and they're like, wow, like every time I see something, State's like winning, and I'm like, jump on,
you
get
could
on.
be a fan. It's okay. We will welcome you.
funny,
Embrace your Borat. It's very nice.
Yeah. Funny story. I was at the VFW the other night having a few drinks with some coworkers, and the guy walks up to me and goes, "Man, y'all had a nice run," because I had a NC State stuff and he goes, "Y'all had a nice run." I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And he goes, "I saw you on TV." I'm like, "Yeah, man, come on, like you can." And he talked NC State stuff with me for 10 minutes. So I think he's a Clemson fan, but still a good dude. And
they did
people
talk, did too, right? They're nice for Elite Eight.
Yeah,
so
people are talking about us in a positive way. So
that's
awesome.
Like,
who are most of your people you work with fans of?
Oh, for me,
is it just kind of like all over? Because it's
so I have a couple of I have one Carolina fan. He's a good dude. And then I have a Georgia fan, a couple Georgia fans.
Yeah.
I got a Bama, and then I got those were the main ones I talked to. So, but yeah, people are taking notice.
Yeah, 100%. So that being said, I also got to give a shout out to the crazy surprise announcement of Tristan Teasdale. Teasdale, if I'm saying that right. Yep. Safety commit from Leesburg, Virginia. Yep. Who doesn't have a ranking on 24/7 anywhere I saw, but I'm assuming that with him being class of 2025, I don't know, but I mean, like his offer list. I mean, had Oklahoma State, Kentucky, Miami, Notre Dame, Southern Cal, Washington, Iowa. So I mean, he had a pretty extensive list. So I mean, he's at least a 3-star, if not a 4-star. Got to be. So,
and he's the number one. He rated the number one safety in the state of Virginia. So that's
it's pretty good.
Something to be
pretty good.
Of. Pretty excited about.
Yeah, that one kind of came out of nowhere, right? Beginning of May, not many. Recruits are committing. It's usually later in the summer, but
we'll take it
up early.
Hopefully it sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't say that funnily. I mean, funnily, that's not even a word, but it's with that list. People, will still continue to try to recruit him. Yeah,
absolutely.
But
plus he has his season this year.
Yeah, that's the guy who had a huge offer list, and he had offers from everybody. So it's like people look at the 3-star, and I mean, it's a guy that everybody wanted. I mean, like he had major offers, so it's not like this is your typical kind of 3-star guy. Some of those guys end up being big time talents, right? So this is to me, the State's staff has earned trust with who they recruit and identifying talent, and so this is exciting to me, especially when you consider the offer list. So
and you would think if that offer list gets a little bit bigger, those stars start coming, right? Because we just know how that game works. Once you get offered by an Alabama or a Georgia, stars just magically appear on your profile.
Right, but it's crazy, like, because he's only ranked on one site on Rivals. Like, it's kind of surprised all these offers. And there's only one site that has him. I guess to show you there's how many football players there are. But
I think that maybe he's not been going to camps because that's usually where you get profiled. Yeah.
And I think with the portal, a lot of sites are focusing on portal guys too. I'm guessing high school probably gets more ramped up, June, July.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then Razor asking questions about transfers for men's basketball and football. I mean, again, like we don't want to necessarily talk too much about it. There's some insider information that is probably behind paywall, whether it's from Pack Pride, Wolfpack, or Inside Pack Sports, you name it. But I mean, let's be real. For football, the biggest focus is getting a backup defensive tackle. That's a
couple
must.
Of them potentially. Yeah, and they actually announced the names on the ones that I saw. I didn't go behind the paywall to get all the information, but they got the guy from Colorado coming in, and then they got a guy coming in from the FCS level. I don't remember his name, Those are a couple D tackles, and then I think they had a safety coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had safety as well.
Yeah.
Which would definitely be needed too. Well, but definitely the focus is defensive tackle, no doubt.
Yeah, really thin there, especially with we've had some injury history at those positions. You know, Van's had some injury history, and so
which hold on to. Can we did y'all talk last week about Josh Harris going to UNC? Did y'all talk about that last week?
I don't know if that happened before the show.
I don't think we did.
No,
yeah, we definitely didn't talk about it.
We definitely didn't, but I thought he came in after Monday, but maybe he didn't.
Yeah, but it was so
if we want to talk about it,
just real quick, and I know we don't have too much more time here, but the former NC State defensive tackle Josh Harris, who left NC State after 3 years at NC State, he transferred to Ole Miss last year for 1 year, and then put his name back in the transfer portal again. There was 100% talks of us talking to Josh again about coming back to NC State, reuniting with NC State to fill that backup defensive tackle role. But all of a sudden, he decided to commit to UNC, which I didn't see coming. Oh, that was a huge shocker for sure. So yeah, Michael, go
playing
go
time.
Yeah, playing time.
Yeah, I think it's playing time, and they've probably given him some NIL, which I don't think he would have been a backup to Brandon Cleveland at least.
Yeah,
he has
more
a
than
kid
likely.
Too.
So
yeah, he has a kid.
Yeah.
So that NIL money is probably very beneficial for him.
Yeah,
true.
And he's probably trying, and to Michael's point, if he's going to get a backup role, this is his last opportunity to get some film on tape for NFL scouts. And so you would think that he's going to want to get as many reps and get stuff on tape to, improve his stock.
That's right. And then Preacher Man as well, just reminding us as well that with Coach Esposito, Zach Esposito being added as associate head coach for in-state wrestling. If you haven't checked out those interviews yet on our channel, make sure to go and do that, as both those interviews were really, really awesome. So make sure to go and check those out here on our channel, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So excited about that. But two more quick topics, which we'll just kind of spend like 2 minutes on each, and that way we can wrap this thing up here. But Swim Swam came up with the news that NCAA qualifier and ACC runner-up Chase Travis, women's swimming and diving transfer from Virginia Tech, has committed to NC State for her 5th year, and has come to NC State. And I'm looking at it here, so. She was a 2024 NCAA qualifier. Last year, she was AC runner-up in the 1650 meter freestyle. So
behind who was it? A state person? I'm just curious. Do you know?
I don't think so. I don't think it was. But the interesting thing is that her older sister actually just graduated from NC State for swimming and diving. So it is interesting with the fact that it's not that she has a sibling at NC State. She has a sibling that just left NC State. So, it's kind of interesting.
That helps in the recruiting department.
Yeah, no, it does. But it's also interesting that I think that what really stood out to me about this, which is why I want to bring it up, was the fact that it was a in-conference transfer from Virginia Tech to NC State. Interesting stuff. So, I think that maybe she's looking a little bit at what Braden Holloway has done. How we have two swimmers going to compete in the 2024 Olympics this year for their respective countries. That stands out for sure. And so excited to see what Braden Holloway has done so far and what he is going to continue to do in his years at NC State. But love to see it. Any other comments here, y'all, before move on to our last topic here?
I think Northwolf's got a good comment there about it's going to get much tougher when you add in Stanford and Cal because they have their swimming programs. So State's going to need to have not be able to sit at the top. I know UVA is there at times, but they're going to have to really work a little bit harder, I think, to get that title now.
Agreed.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the last tweet of the week here before we wrap it up here is the news that Jared Fernandez, former NC State linebacker, has decided to retire fully from football. Jared Fernandez, who was linebacker here, I believe, from 2013 through 2016 at NC State, pretty much started 3 of those years, 2014, 15, 16. And spent, I think he got signed as a free agent by the Redskins out of, or the Commanders, whatever they were at the time, or the Washington football team, whatever they were at the time. coming out of college, and then spent some time in the Canadian Football League, and then spent his later recent years in the USFL. He was a key piece of the New Orleans Breakers, I think is the mascot's name, the New Orleans Breakers defense. He had 150 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 2 sacks, and interception in his USFL career with the New Orleans Breakers. Definitely a guy that, when you thought about, or, when you heard about the Canadian Football League and the USFL, he was a guy that a lot of times was a name that got brought up. Definitely was an impact guy and a guy that made his career there. So, definitely, excited for Jared, to see what he can do. I know he's been doing a lot of stuff with doing a lot of training for young athletes. I've seen that a lot on his Instagram, but, huge shout out to a big leader at NC State during the early years of that defense, to really kind of hold things down and, help bring in the next generation of linebackers with Drake Thomas, Isaiah Moore, and Peyton Wilson, right? Kind of paving the way for those guys, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had a pleasure to talk to him at the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Really nice guy, and cool. just a solid dude. And so
that's right.
Wish him the best in his next endeavors.
That's right. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we appreciate y'all, man. Y'all are the best. Again, we are still on the road here, 10,000 subscribers. We're actually very, very close to 20,000 Twitter followers. So if you haven't already, give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. Make sure to go and do that first and foremost, y'all. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, notification bell. Make sure to do that as well, as we have a banger of an episode coming up here on Wednesday morning. So make sure you do not miss out on that. And then if you haven't already, y'all leave a comment down below as well in terms of what sport are you most excited about in the next school year. So to 2024, 2025 year, what sport are you most excited about? Whether that's football, men's basketball, baseball, women's tennis, you name it. Let us know down in the comments, y'all. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to this, please do us a big favor as well and leave that 5-star review, as that would greatly help support us as well. But we appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Y'all be good. Enjoy being an NC State fan, y'all. It's a great time to be it. And we'll see y'all soon, and go Pack, y'all.